now.
Now it says we're recording.
There we go. All right. How's it going, my Comic Chat Army? We're here with the incredible Luke Stone, the creator of Hybrid, the Son of Gods. How you doing, Luke?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So tell us about the creative process again.
Yeah, sure. First, thanks for having me on the show. Really enjoy what you do here, and I'm happy to make an appearance finally. So.
Oh yeah, thank you. I'm glad you came on. We've been trying to get you on for a while.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about the book. So yeah, the creative process for Hybrids of Sons of Gods is actually probably 10 to 13 years old. It started that long ago. It started with a conversation I was having with a friend of mine about kind of these verses in the Bible that were kind of more obscure and weird. One of them was in Genesis 6, where he talks about the sons of God like having babies with the daughters of men. And like these creatures called the Nephilim like are born. And so we had all kinds of conversations about that and talking about other texts and other religions that also share the same story and all that kind of stuff. And he encouraged me, knowing that I love comic books, encouraged me to write a comic book. So I just started researching all of the stuff that I could get. And some of that material is not very readily available. It's kind of obscure. Mm-hmm. I just started researching everything that I could. And so the kind of the backstory of trying to figure out how to write this book took a long time, but actually making the book was kind of like fast and kind of out of the blue for me. I was running this company called Tenacious Comics at the time, and we had several books that were getting ready to come out, but we didn't have anything that kind of fit the superpower genre. And so I had already told some of the guys about this storyline that I had, and they encouraged me to go ahead and write the book and get it ready, the first issue, for our block of releases that we were doing. So I quickly wrote a script, had never written a comic book before, had drawn several but not written any, and so it was my first time writing, and then I quickly drew it, and because it was being fast and had other things I was working on, I had to find a colorist, and so I found a colorist to work with it, and we put it out, and I didn't think anyone was really going to get into it because of the subject matter. I'm talking about, my pitch started, a Bible verse. How many people are really going to get into that? They're going to think it's a Christian book, or they're going to think it's one thing or another. But it turned out it was much better received than what I thought. And so that first issue did really, really well, especially for an independent book by literally a no-name creator that no one even knew. So that's kind of the process, the creative process behind it, and where it came from.
Oh, wow. Where can people pick the books up now?
Right now, you can there's still, I think, one copy of I've got one copy of the first printing of Hybrids through Starcross Comics over at Indiegogo.com. If you go to Indiegogo and look up Hybrids 5, you can get those. And I'm sending those out with a signature on it. And then I think Starcross Comics still has some. But I recently left Starcross, and I'm starting a company called Terraform Comics with a bunch of other creators. And we will have the Terraform branded book available very soon. So they are actually coming back from the printer here in the next couple days. So once those are available, we'll have them for the website and things like that. So.
All right. Well, how did you meet Starcross Comics to do this book?
Well, so I had started the story with Tenacious Comics, the company that I had started, and we had someone who stepped in to help out as editor-in-chief and wound up embezzling some funds from some Kickstarters, and so it wound up kind of killing that company. And I was so busy with kind of life going on, because I'm a full-time pastor, so I was actually working at a working with the church that was having some issues, and so I just needed to focus on that. And so I started to just kind of get out of comics, and I was like, I had this bad taste in my mouth from this guy who, took money, and we wound up having to take money out of our own pockets to fulfill campaigns and stuff because we weren't going to not do that. And so it was pretty bad. So I just decided to take some time off, and then Joe Spicer got a hold of me. He had seen pictures of Trash Man and things like that, and he said he wanted to release the books. And so I'd already had issue 2 drawn and ready to go. I just, we weren't releasing it because the company had closed. So we re-released issue 1 and then issue 2. And I was kind of like one of those radio silent guys. I didn't talk much because, I didn't know what kind of company they were or whatever.
Right.
But I wound up the books wound up doing really good, and he was like, "So when are you going to produce more? We're ready for more." And that just kind of got me. It just, when I found out that they were selling and that people were liking them, it geared me up, and so I just went ahead and I blasted out the next 3 issues and got those done this year, not this year, last year. And so, last year, I take that back. Last year, 3 and 4 came out, and then 5 came out this year.
All right. And what does your congregation think about the books?
A couple of them are really big fans, actually. They're all like, they all kind of think it's neat that they've got a comic book drawing pastor. So I do music too, and so I came from youth ministry, and so I was actually the youth pastor of this church before I became the lead pastor, and so I haven't really changed much from being a youth pastor. I'm still kind of my office is full of like Star Wars and Marvel and DC stuff and geek stuff, and it's just kind of fun. I'm kind of this fun little guy, but most of them like it. Pardon me. In fact, one of the guys in the book is actually based off of a dude in my congregation, and so I really can't say likenesses are coincidental, because like for real, it's his name. The only thing that's different about this guy is, in the comic book, he has an eye patch, because I thought, that's the only thing that might make him look a little cooler is the eye patch. And that's a guy named Danny. So Danny in the comic books is a real guy, and he really talks like that. And he is really all the things that Danny is in the comics. So
I'm have to go back and check that out.
Yeah.
So what's the next saga for Sons of Gods?
Oh, yeah. So we just wrapped up the Trash Day saga, and we have 2 little mini kind of like post-credit scenes that we've made. One of them is called Seraphina, number 0, and that kind of talks about the character that's rescued at the end. You get a little more insight into her. And then there's another one, what I've been calling the Trash Day prologue. I guess it's not really a prologue, maybe it's an epilogue. I'm not sure what it is, but it's one of those things. But basically it's a post-credit scene that's 4 pages that will actually be in the Advocator. That's going to be launching here really soon. So that next one, when I start pushing that one, you'll be able to find that. And then both of those stories, I still have a couple of. We only made 50 copies of the Seraphina book, and so if you contact me, I still have a few of those. So that's a very limited edition, and those are collectors. So if you want to get a hold of one of those, people can get a hold of me to get those. But after the Advocator is out and stuff, we are going to put both of those into a small like collector's edition issue where you can get both of those stories together, and then both of those will also be included in the trade paperback, which we look to release the trade paperback for Trash Day this year. And then following that, Hybrids: The Sons of Gods is actually being developed into a role-playing game. So we will have a quick play done, yeah. And so we'll be releasing the quick play soon, and then the full compendium, like player's manual, game master's manual, and all the maps and everything, all that out. And hopefully we're on track to try to get that done this year as well, to put that out. And then I'm also writing the second arc of Hybrids, and so Hybrids Love Lost Part 1 will be coming out. Probably we'll be running that one in late December, January. So we'll be running that one, the campaign for that, and then the rest will follow suit, because we're already writing and drawing those. So.
Wow, you got a lot going on, Luke.
I do. Yeah, I do.
And I know that you're working on Voodoo Nation. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm working on this book with Travis Gibb called Voodoo Nations, and it is a 4-part series that kind of it's almost kind of like a globe trekking thing, but it deals with these 2 missionaries to Brazil that wind up getting kind of harassed and eventually manipulated by this really wicked voodoo doctor named Bishop Lucas. And that Kickstarter will be launching very soon. It is some of my favorite work that I've done. It's pushed some of my art to the next level and things, because it's like there's no superheroes or anything. It's just like people. And so I'm still trying to make it very dynamic and very interesting. I play a lot with this main character, Bishop Lucas, who is a lot of fun to draw. In fact, we actually just got a new cover from the amazing Stan Yak. And so that's a really cool cover that we look to be pushing with that as well. So yeah, definitely check that out on Kickstarter. It's right now. You can start to follow that and I'll send you the link on that, on how you can follow that project. But yeah, it's as soon as it launches, we expect big things from this one. It's a really good book. Travis did a great job writing it. The team is doing a great job producing it. So it's a pretty exciting project.
All right, cool. And since you said Hybrid the Sons of God was your first script, do you have any do's and don'ts that you can tell the people on how to make a script better, or what not to do?
Yeah. Okay. So don't think that your first script is going to be amazing. The first book, I didn't use an editor, and I pretty much just wrote it myself, and it worked okay. But I think when people read the series and they grab issue 1, there are some, there's maybe a little bit of clunkiness to it. But that was a while ago, and I was kind of still growing, I was learning. Not that I'm not still learning now, I still am. But I think the number one thing is to grab an editor and have someone that and not just a copy editor, because there's a difference between copy editor and story editor. Find someone that's not going to just tell you that it's great and that, there's out of you, but find someone that's going to help you pick up the missed opportunities on that. So that would be the thing that I would do. And it was supposed to be 22 pages, wound up being 2 pages, so I had to cut it's the ending, and I wouldn't want to do that. If I would say you gotta make cuts, find changes, cuts from other places instead of the end, if you can help it.
All right, what's the difference between editors? You said a copy editor and a regular editor?
Copy editor, story editors. A story editor is someone's going to come through and walk you through the actual story process, and they're going to be with, it's like, oh, well, this was strong or this wasn't strong, or you need to do this, or maybe doing this, and they're going to go through the story and try to help give the foundation of the story a little bit better. So that's one kind of editor. Then there's a project manager who helps you go through and verifies the script, verifies the layouts off of the script and the art and all that kind of stuff. Then there's a copy editor, and a copy editor takes your final lettered version and then goes through and checks it for grammatical errors and and spelling errors, and sometimes they will double check on balloon placement and stuff like that, but that's usually usually the project manager or the copy or the story editor that will do that. They'll take a look at that. But copy editors are usually just the spell check people and the grammar people. But
okay, let's see. I'm trying to think. Kind of ran through all the questions really quick.
You did ask me a question before about the maybe I can jog your memory with this one. I can't quite remember how you phrased it, but if I had ever got any kind of feedback or negative response about.
Oh yeah. Has anybody ever gave you negative about Hybrid Sons of God?
I have gotten some negative, but mostly it's been because of the faith element, and not actually from people that aren't believers. So I'm a Christian, and I wanted to write a book that was from a Christian's worldview, but I didn't want to do it in such a way to where it was going to be kind of preachy or condemning in any way. I wanted it to be really hey, this is how I view the world, and I wanted to share that. And I wanted to do something that was kind of allegorical, kind of like a Lord of the Rings, where it's very allegorical, or a Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which was also allegorical. And I wanted to do something where it told a story through a story, And then at the same time, I also wanted to be able to portray this worldview through questions and get people to talk and to think through things, and And then above all that, I want to entertain people. Well, a lot of believers think, because of what I do, that I should have like this very overtly Christian book that it's, like really preachy and, has crosses on the cover and, it's, but I'm like, there's a lot of books out there like that, and that's not what I want to do. I wanted to do a story that's, it's not a Christian comic. It's just a comic book that is written from a Christian worldview. So it does have some of, my thought pattern in there, some of my viewpoint, but also so that people can get to see that and know that it's not as, weird as what some people might think, but it's just a fun, entertaining book. And so I've actually gotten the most negative feedback have been from other Christians that don't understand what I'm doing, that how can you be a Christian and write a book that, has a couple swear words in it, or, isn't a Christian book. It's not preaching at people. I'm like, it's really easy, just do it.
Right. So, excuse me, when you draw, do you use pen and paper or digital?
I started out with pen and paper, but now I am a digital artist. I do work with a tablet. Normally I use Photoshop, but I've just switched over to Clip Studio. This week, literally the last few days, I've drawn the last 3 or 4 pages with nothing but Clip Studio. So, but I've been digital. I moved to digital back in 2015, because it was getting really expensive. I was not very good, and I needed to practice a lot. And it was getting very expensive for pen, for ink, for pencils, for paper. Mm-hmm. And when I was able to move to digital, it was a game changer for me. I got better. And then when I was able to get an actual graphics display where I could see the image on the screen that I was drawing and not like have that disconnection with the drawing on the pad and looking up the screen, then I got even better. And so I was able to practice more, draw more. And so it was actually kind of a game changer for me. It made me better. And but I will still go back and sometimes do some things with traditional. But
all right. Well, you kind of answered the question for me. If in a perfect world, would you stay digital or would you go pen and traditional?
In today's world, I would definitely stay digital. All the people that I work with are ways away from me. They're all not only just across America, they're across the world. My colorist and some of the artists I work with are in Brazil. Some are in Indonesia, some are Russia, some are California. So you start going across those places, and when you start drawing traditional, and you have to scan it, and then send it, and then they have to print it, do the work, and then scan it and send it. It just really complicates things and makes things more expensive. And so, yeah, digital's safe. I'd probably just stay digital.
All right. Well, thank you, Luke. Do you got anything you want to tell the people before we go?
Just check out terraformcomics.com. It's my new company. And we are changing the landscape of comics is our tagline, and we're really trying to do that. We're wanting to make a great experience for the creator, but also make a better experience for the reader. And so we're trying to create a formula that works magic for both of those people, to make it great. And so go by there, sign up for the mailing list. Hybrids, the Sons of Gods, will be available there. And then also go by Kickstarter and check out Voodoo Nations. You can also go to voodoonations.com and sign up for our mailing list over there as well. So yeah.
All right. And are you taking submissions of people's comic books?
Submissions just closed for this year, and we'll probably open them back up again. But we got a whole bunch of submissions right away, and then we have several Terraform Comics IPs that we're working on too. So you should expect to see a lot of books come out here by the end of the year. So it's going to be pretty cool.
All right. Well, thank you, Luke, for taking the time to talk with us.
That's no problem at all.